Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my third blog post about worldview in Vietnam. So, worldview in Vietnam is a very interesting thing. Um, the dominant worldview in Vietnam is shaped by a combination of Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism, along with influences from traditional Vietnamese, animism, and Marxism-Leninism, particularly since the country's socialist revolution in the 20th century. Um, One interesting thing about the worldview in Vietnam is death. So, death in Vietnam is something that's, um, I guess, sacred, um, and not kind of how it is here in America. So, according to Ethnomed, death is not the end, but is the final stage of one life to be transformed into another. Um, Doctor also said he also asserted that death rituals provide the bereaved with a chance to fulfill their filial obligations to the deceased. So this kind of shows that um, with death you kind of transform into like another life. It's not the end of your life, but you just get transformed into another life. Going along with that, the religion in Vietnam. So a lot of the religions are Confucianism, Buddhism, Taoism, traditional Vietnamese animism, and Marxism-Leninism. Um, according to Asia Society, to a Vietnamese, saying a word out loud was to conjure up the object represented by that word, so that its presence and power become almost tangible. So this kind of shows that the Vietnamese people put a lot of thought into the words that they say, and they don't just say them. Like, I guess they put really big meanings behind the stuff they say, and not just say it just to say it. So I guess in general, conflict between adherents of different worldviews in Vietnam is rare, especially in urban areas where people from various backgrounds tend to coexist peacefully. In rural areas, especially where traditional animistic beliefs are more deeply ingrained, there can be an occasional tension, but this is often just related to more local practices rather than a nationwide ideological conflict. The dominant worldview, Confucianism, Buddhism, Taoism, is usually inclusive enough to accommodate different views, although tensions can always arise when religious groups clash with more integrated folk practices. In conclusion, Vietnam's worldview is super diverse but largely harmonious. Like I said, everything is inclusive enough to accommodate different views. With the dominant worldview incorporating aspects of Confucianism, Buddhism, and animism, the country does tend to promote religious tolerance, officially and culturally, allowing people to practice different beliefs. However, there are nuances and regional differences within the nation, and some level of tension can exist, like I stated, but it's more, I guess, in smaller areas, when with the more integrated folk practices. Tensions can also rise, especially where religious minorities and non-traditional beliefs intersect with state ideology or local customs. So that is my blog post about the worldview.